Developing tonight, new fallout after the Supreme Court issued one of the court's most sweeping decisions on abortion rights in more than a decade. Today, the court determined that Texas had gone too far with new rules that state described as safety standards for abortion clinics. Shannon Bream reports live tonight from Washington.
Justice Kennedy was once again the key vote in a critical case, this time siding with the liberal wing of the court to strike down portions of a Texas law the authors say was meant to safeguard the health of women seeking abortions. Critics said that was just a sham and that the real motivation was to shut down the majority of clinics in Texas. They argued that women in that state would be left with few options, likely being forced to drive hundreds of miles to get to a doctor or clinic who could comply with the standards. In striking down the regulations, Justice Breyer expressed real doubt that they would actually benefit women's health, with Justice Ginsburg writing in a concurring opinion that it is, quote, beyond rational belief that the law would genuinely protect women undergoing an abortion. The dissenters, Justices Thomas and Alito, said the court bent over backwards to get to that end result. Thomas writing that the court actually reworked the rules, benefiting, quote, judicially created rights like abortion, while disfavoring many of the rights actually outlined in the Constitution. Both sides say the battle is not over.
Today is just day one. We've got an election where these issues are on referendum. We've got an election where the future of women's rights, which are human rights, are at stake.
This generation's pro-life. The tide has turned in our country. Our culture is changing. We just have to transform Washington now.
Both sides also used today's ruling as a prime example of why the Supreme Court should be on the mind of every voter heading to the polls this fall. Martha?
All right. Thanks to Shannon Bream. So almost as soon as this ruling came down, we started to hear cheers of sorts from the left. Trevor Noah of The Daily Show went on Twitter to encourage people to, quote, celebrate the SCOTUS ruling. Go knock someone up in Texas. I kid you not. And then there was the former Texas State Senator, Wendy Davis, who got national attention for crusading against this law. Here she is.
Well, I'm overjoyed. I have to tell you, I was fighting back tears a moment ago as I was reading the SCOTUS blog, and the first line that came out saying that the Fifth Circuit opinion or decision had been reversed. It's incredible news for the women of Texas. It's incredible news for the women throughout this country.
Interesting. So joining me now, Ben Shapiro is an attorney and editor-in-chief at dailywire.com, and Eboni Williams is an attorney and a Fox News contributor. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you, Martha.
I want to get your thoughts on the ruling, but your thoughts first, culturally, on the reaction that this got from some on the left. Ben, what do you think?
Well, I mean, I think, number one, Trevor Noah is slightly below bubonic plague on the funny scale, so it's not really a shock that he'd come out with a tweet like that. But this shouldn't be a surprise. I think Trevor Noah kind of let loose what a lot of Democrats actually think, which is that there's no reason abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. The internal logic of that statement, the old Clinton formulation, doesn't hold. If abortion is about aborting something that isn't fully human, then why should it be rare? And if it is about aborting something that is human, then why exactly should it be legal? So the full-scale celebration that you see, the idea that abortion is actually birth control, that's what most Democrats believe, including the Democratic Party platform, which it was revealed today, calls for a destruction of literally all state and federal laws that restrict, quote, access to an abortion, as well as public funding for abortion both at home and abroad. They don't believe abortion should be safe, legal, and rare. They think that it's just a form of birth control.
Eboni, what do you think?
Well, look, I thought the tweet from Trevor Noah was ignorant, sad, and very distracting from what I thought was a very classical constitutional analysis delivered by the court today, and I thought that was sad. I've got to respectfully disagree with Ben on the fact that most Democrats see abortions as a primary method of birth control or method at all of birth control. I'm just simply not aware of the data that shows that. I know for people that I know personally that are pro-choice, they are just that. They're pro the woman's right to choose, actually not pro-abortion even, and certainly not advocating that be some method of birth control. That's why we have other actual birth control options.
Yeah, I mean, there were other pro-choice individuals who said that they were horrified by some of these expressions. By the one that Trevor Noah put out. You're shaking your head, Ben. You don't believe that?
Yeah, why? I'm just wondering exactly why there's... Why
I mean,
was it disgusting?
I thought it was a disgusting claim because it was a celebration, and it kind of, to me, underscored the point you made, Ben, and I think it's a sad and disgusting point that anyone in this country would view abortion as a method of birth control.
But why would you object to that? If you don't think that the child is fully human, then why would you care?
First
you
of
don't
all,
care if somebody has a
nobody
polyp
said that.
removed.
I think that you're connecting dots that I've certainly not stated. That
So if the child is fully human, why are you okay with aborting it?
So to be pro-choice. Actually, you know what? Senator Marco Rubio, I thought, really brilliantly laid out this analysis in one of the debates where he talked about this issue of whether or not the child is unborn, and does the child have rights, and also does the mother have rights, and where do those rights intersect or overlap? And I'm someone that believes that certainly the child, unborn child, has rights. I believe that the mother has rights. I simply happen to be a person, and some believe that those mothers' rights deem to usurp those rights. But certainly it's not to disrespect.
In what world would any of my rights allow me to kill another human being?
Well, Ben, again, you're not a woman, and as a woman, I'm someone that's simply saying it is my position that a woman has a right to dictate the choices around her body, but that is not to ignore or take away the rights of any unborn child.
I'm not a slaveholder either. That doesn't mean that I get to let slaveholders define what constitutes property and what constitutes a human being.
Ben. That's good news. I'm really glad that you're not.
The point that I'm making, I mean, if you'd let me finish the sentence, the point that I'm making is that the greatest moral problem in society historically is the idea that you get to arbitrarily define what is human and what is not based on your own convenience.
I don't believe it's arbitrary, and again, this is not a discussion about humanness, but thank you.
Eboni, thank you very much
for
being here. Ben Shapiro, thanks to you as well. A very big decision and controversial indeed coming out of Texas today, and more to come on that. So there are serious new questions.